Welcome back to the poem Students When You Are Old Part 2. Dear students, now the detailed explanation of the poem When You Are Old. When you are old and grey and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once and of the shadows deep. When You Are Old is a short, exquisite love lyric of 12 lines. It is a sad and introspective poem and is written in a melancholic tone. In the first stanza, there is a contrast between her elegant youth and her depressing old age, as it highlights the writer's true and unforgettable love for a lady. It presents the concern of a sincere lover for the future predicament of his lady love. Instead of focusing upon the present or the past, the poet looks to the future, a future in which the two people in the poem are destined to be forever apart. The poet imagines that the woman he loved has become old and regrets her refusing her true love. The poem begins with the resumption that an old and grey lady is sitting beside the fire nodding her head. When she recalls her memories, she remembers the soft look that her eyes had once, and the number of the suitors who tried to court her, being charmed by her elegance and beauty. When You Are Old is full of visual imagery. The poet builds a picture of an old woman sitting beside the fire nodding, using the words old and grey, full of sleep, nodding by the fire, slowly read. These words evoke in us concrete pictures of old people with grey hair, bent back, jaws moving slowly, sitting by the fire alone, not being able to hold one's neck firmly, shrunken face with wrinkles and black patches below the eyes. The quality of the visual imagery is enriched by the use of the phrases which contrast with each other like moments of glad grace versus sorrows of a changing face. The phrase pilgrim souls suggests spirituality, which is normally associated with the old age. As it is a short love poem, the poet uses a time frame in which the speaker addresses her lady love in the present, takes her to an unreal condition in the future, and asks her to recall her past memories. He does so in order to persuade her and warn her not to ignore him and make a wrong decision. The poet's point of view is the most compelling point of the poem. The narrator is calling upon a woman that is not yet through with youth to once past her prime recall the days he was in her life and very much in love with her. Obviously, he wants her to remember him for his unique and unconditional love for her and how she is choosing to ignore it in the present. By writing this poem in this fashion, the woman, when the poet hopes that she grows old, will remember the days when she was young with happiness, but will grow regretful that she did not take advantage of his love. Now, next four lines, students. How many loved your moments of glad grace and loved your beauty with love false or true? But one man loved the pilgrim soul in you and loved the sorrows of your changing face. In the second stanza, there is a contrast between her many suitors who professed superficial love and the speaker or the lover who promises true love for her. Students, she remembers her faded beauty that was admired by many, but then recalled the holy man, the narrator, who loved her for her unique soul. He loved her even as she grew less beautiful and as her personality changed in the fullness of time. That means he loved her even in her old age. The alliteration glad grace expresses that when she is young, beautiful, and in her best moments of life, many will be interested in her. but the love for her will be just false or superficial love. However, the narrator or the speaker will love her anyway, no matter what happens to her beauty. The line, and the loved the sorrows of a changing face, suggests that when she gets old, her face gets shrunk. So her face looks different, but he will just love her with the same love he always had. There is also a contrast between glad grace and sorrows of your changing face, which suggests that while the others love her in her happy times, he will love her every time, including the worst ones. The phrase, the pilgrim soul, in the line, but one man loved the pilgrim soul in you, refers to the long walk that her soul has had searching for real happiness. But really, being alone, so many lovers can love her for how she looks, only he can love her for who she really is. Pilgrim soul has reference to the biblical belief that every soul is a pilgrim on the way to salvation and redemption. The speaker, by referring to this aspect of the beloved rather than to her beauty and fame, evokes oneness with the inner and not the external self. While admitting that many suitors were attracted by her youthful beauty, the speaker tries to tell her that he was the only lover who loved the pilgrim soul in her. He wants her to know that, unlike others, he was attracted by the beauty of her inner self, and his love would remain constant even in her old age. He assures her that he loves even the sorrow of her changing face. The last four lines, and bending down beside the glowing bars, murmur a little sadly how love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. Students, in the last third stanza, there is a contrast between the fleeting or transient love represented by her many suitors and the personified love of the poet. There is a contrast between the sorrows of her changing face in the second stanza and murmur a little sadly on the third stanza. The sorrows indicate passion or strong emotion seen in young people, and little sadly reflects the listlessness of old people. There is a contrast between the beauty and elegance. Sans her soul, sought after by the suitors, and the pilgrim's soul in the same lady cherished by the speaker. The many suitors who wanted to court her were attracted by her superficial beauty, whereas this lover or speaker was attracted by her pilgrim soul, which symbolizes her inner self. These contrasts serve to build a strong argument to persuade the young lady not to ignore him now and regret later. In this last stanza, students, the speaker exhorts the loved one to remember him in later years as she sits beside the fire and bends over the embers of the fire. The murmur suggests a whisper that shows she has no passion or jest left. This adds to the imagery of age and weariness. A little sadly suggests that in later years, as she remembers the speaker, she should feel regretful. The poet uses the word love in all the lines in the second stanza, and in the third stanza, second line, he capitalizes the word love, giving it much intensity. He personifies love in the second line. Pacing suggests that she was given a chance as love waited for her. It also suggests the gradual diminishing of love, which may then loiter over mountains for a while and then disappear. Being on the mountains overhead suggests that love waited on the higher plane than that which she inhabited. Capitalized L for love suggests that it is not just a person that she has lost, but the ultimate, true, and everlasting possibility of love. The phrase how love fled refers to the possibility that the speaker's love would just fly far away because she is not receptive of to this love. He wants her to understand that over a period of time her beauty will have faded away and she will have grown old, with her face having shrunk and her skin having been wrinkled, indicating that she has passed through many difficulties and sorrows. The speaker concludes visualizing that she is now bending down beside the dying fire and she tells herself in a whisper, in a grateful, regretful tone, that her true love has fled and is hiding his face amidst the crowd of stars. Thus, the whole poem is the delineation of the intense feelings of a true lover. Friends, hope you understood the explanation of this poem. Now, the theme of the poem. The theme of When You Are Old is unrequited love. The words are fundamentally sad and final declaration of love by someone who appears to have lost hope that his devotion will ever be reciprocated. The voice is intensely personal, addressed to someone with whom he is closely familiar. Thank you, dear students. May God bless you.